Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a top 10 countdown of the 10 most popular Chia questions. Stay with me on this one. Just a quick update. I have 102 plots farming right now. As of today, which is April 30th, we're at still 0 coins. Alright guys, so I have a list here of 10 questions that are really popular that I got in my comments and what I've read on the Reddit forums and other people's comments and other channels related to Chia. So, number 10 being, can I continue my plots if I close the program? Unfortunately, if the program closes out, your plots are done, meaning it doesn't even matter if you had 50% done or if you had 99% done. It is squash, meaning it's not going to pick back up from where it left off. You have to start all over again. I know it's painful. I know it took about 9, 10 hours, 12 hours even, and up to you get to that last very second, that last percentage, it actually takes a decent amount of time to finalize. It is done. There's no continuing, unfortunately, and this has been said by Chia themselves. All right. Number 9, how do I check for port 844? 8444. All right, so that's 3 4s, 8444. One way you can actually check is you do a Google search. I'm not going to tell you which one specifically, but if you do a public port scanner or port scanner in general, you can put your external IP address in there and it can scan and see if you have port 8444 open or not into your network. Now, there may be a couple scenarios that would restrict you from having that port open, your internal firewall, your current configuration with your cable company. It really depends on what they have filtering for you, or if you have more control over your own devices, whether, let's just say you had a cable modem, you can, if it's theirs, then they may have a little more control. You may have access to that. You can probably request to make sure that 8444 is open into your network, into your IP. The best way to make sure that it's open at first is just to go to any search page and Google or, look for port scanning and type in your public IP address and put in that port number to make sure that it is open, because if it's not, you are reducing your chances of getting that coin. All right. Number 8, will adding more threads help plotting? Yes, it does, but only for phase 1, because a lot of people have noticed that when you reach percentage 31%, that it seems like it's hung or is installed, like it's just not moving anymore. A lot of people think that it crashed. 31% is transitioning from phase 1 to phase 2. And there are 4 phases when it's plotting. So it does take this really long time to transition between phase 1 to phase 2. And it does look like it's stuck at 31%. But if you look at the logs, if you're in the GUI or in the command line, if you look at the logs, you can see that it's still doing something. But unfortunately, the percentage bar is not moving, which somehow, to a lot of people, that indicates that it has failed. Maybe because we're so used to Windows that, every time you see that progress bar, if it doesn't move, you're look like you're pretty much screwed. All right, so to make sure is that adding more threads does help stage 1 or phase 1, but after that it goes back to a single thread and you wouldn't be really utilizing much of it. Will it increase the time to get to the 31% to complete the phase 1? I would say possibly. Just make sure you allocate, you don't over allocate too many threads into one plot opposed to creating multiple plots in parallel. All right. Number 7, can I plot from more than one machine? Yes, you can. There is also an option to do the harvester, which is an additional machine on the network, on the same network, that can help and assist with plotting. Now, then that reduces that harvester from actually farming. You only choose, Chia themselves also say that you should only really have one machine that farms on the same network, IP address, external IP address. You don't want to bombard your internal network with multiple farmers, it does take up more networking utilization. So what they recommend is if you have one farmer, which is fine, but if you have multiple plotting machines or harvesters, you can do it that way, where it's only one machine that's actually going out into the internet. Number 6, will there be pools to help the little guys? Apparently there is. I just don't know how reliable they are right now. There hasn't been any really major pools that people can jump in on and hopefully gain some Chia coins. There is, I think, starting, but don't take my word for this on this one. I'm not sure. I don't know what's out there or what's being developed in regards to pools. I'm sure certain groups will create pools. Just like any other crypto, you can choose to join whichever pool that you would feel comfortable with, that you have a better understanding of. To some extent, some pools may be out of the country, and a lot of the discussions, whether on any type of forums, would be a different language, which you would have a hard time understanding. So that would make it difficult for you to join that pool and not understand what the updates are as the news come out. Them are pools. I just don't know of the legitimate and reliable pools that I would currently join as of today, but I would hold on to just doing a little more solo farming and plotting until it gets more into the mainstream, where pools are more reliable and people are actually getting into it. Number 5, should I spend on a dedicated rig? You can if you want. I know I did, but I did it because I had the funds to do it. I had a partner to go in on with. I didn't just, take out I didn't pay it all on my own. So between my partner and myself, we split that cost, so it reduced it. All right. So I don't know if in your situation, if you have the money to put into a dedicated rig just for plotting, I would say at least utilize that machine to do other things, if that is the case. If you plan on using it as a gaming machine, I would do that as well. I would do the plotting more of a background task while you're doing other things throughout the day, and then when you're not using the machine, you can potentially add more power into it, meaning more thread, more memory. But the hard drive space is always going to be there. You can't just reduce that if you were planning to plot anyway. So I wouldn't suggest doing a dedicated rig unless you're really going all out and you're buying server levels and you're buying tons of drives and actually planning to go all out on doing this. Now, but for the regular Chia plotting at home with the 1 or 2 machines, I wouldn't go out and spend on the latest and greatest just to plot. I mean, I'll probably get at least 2-3 generations behind. That reduces my power a little bit, but it still is sufficient enough to actually do something. Okay, so that's my short answer. Would be, do not spend so much money on a dedicated rig just for Chia, because you may potentially be very, very upset if it doesn't work out well. Okay. Number 4, what are the fastest drives to temp to? Now, this is, in my opinion, some other people may have different takes on it, but the way I plot is to temp. Temp drives are NVMe's. It temps to those, and then it writes over to whether you can use SSDs, and then standard hard drives, SATA drives, and then that my temping would be either between the NVMe, if you have that option. If you're using older hardware that does not support that, then obviously the SSDs. Now that would be my chain of order of writing. In short, would be NVMe's and then SSDs, and then everything else is, it could be like the final farming and the plotting, like the final farming file, like after it plots and it becomes that 101 gig, you can put that onto like a 5-year-old 1 terabyte drive for all you care, because it's not going to be intense. It's literally just storing, and it goes out into the wild. I'll call it the wild. It's not going to be hard drive intense on those. It's not going to be taxing on those drives after it finalizes. Okay, at least from what the white paper and what the technical aspect from Chia themselves have stated. Number 3, can I plot temp from the OS drive? Okay, what that means is, can I run my OS and have a temp directory on that same drive that's running the operating system? It's been done. I've done it. It works. It's fine. I would say hoping that the drive is fast, not a really slow hard drive, whether it's NVMe's or SSDs. I've done it. It works. They don't recommend it because as you're writing more and more, the drives become very, they have a potential of failing after too many writes or whatnot, and you would lose your operating system. Now, I do it on a machine that I have nothing going on with it. No files. I don't even check emails. Nothing is stored. Nothing is, I don't use it for any operations besides it was mainly for testing and recording and plotting and just getting to ins and outs of Chia. So you can, but I would not suggest it on a primary machine because now you're kind of, let's just say you have a dedicated machine and you check your bank accounts, you do all your monthly payments, and a lot of the web addresses, your bookmarks and all that are stored. You may not have it synced out to the cloud somewhere, and this fails on you because it was been doing too many writes, that now you lost it. Now, you do know that if it constantly writes like that when it's temping the files onto the same drive, it's reducing its life. So that's what you have to take in consideration. It's doable, but if it's a machine that you don't really care for and you can just blow it away and reinstall the operating system, 1, 2, 3, throw in a USB stick, and you don't have to reconfigure anything, then fine. I would say yes. But besides that, I would really, really recommend not doing it into the same drive as your operating system if you do have anything critical. All right. So let's go to question 2. This is number 2. Do I need a good GPU to help with plotting? No. This has nothing to do with GPUs. It's the video card that you have in any one of these machines to monitor and look at Chia is just to see it. Nothing else. It does not call for any GPUs. It does not help in any way to assist with making the plots quicker. Nothing. So don't even, you could run video cards, ancient PCIe's with maybe like 512 megs of RAM. Nothing intense. There's nothing that requires a dedicated GPU to help with plotting. And even if you had something decent, it would not benefit you because that's not what it does. That's not what it uses. You can mine other things. You can look into other options as far as utilizing your GPU, but Chia is not one of them. That's the whole reason behind why the hard drives are such a commodity now, because it does not utilize GPU. All right. And the number 1 for Chia is drum roll. Chia, how much will Chia be worth? The number 1 question. Who knows? No one knows. Speculation from 15 grand to another speculation of 1,500, 1,400, $1. Nobody knows. I do not know. But what is my thought on it? Being very optimistic, I, of course, would like to have Chia at a certain price range, right? Because, we're throwing money in here. We're putting good hardware into doing all this. I personally would not have bought 3 16 terabytes, 10 terabytes, 8 terabytes, and just trying to find hard drive deals every single week, let alone anything before Chia. I probably at most had a 2 terabyte drive just running my operating system and saving files to a 4 terabyte external hard drive. Doing similar things like that for many years. I remember starting off with an external hard drive for 500 gigs or whatever, and slowly it crept up as the prices went down and the hard drive space went up. But what would Chia be worth? I mean, if it was up to me, it would be great if it was even $1,000 a coin, or even $100 a coin. Now, I will say this. If I don't get any coins from farming, when Chia does come out into an exchange. It really depends on what the price of it would be for me to consider buying into it. I also said to myself that if Chia came out and I was able to obtain some coins and it had a value to it, I would buy into it at that time as well. I wouldn't just rely on mining to get the coins and then have a value. I would mine at the same time. I would still buy. But what price would I buy it at right now? I can say this to you guys right now is if it was $20 a coin, I would buy it. If it was $50 a coin, I would buy it. If it was $100 a coin, I would still buy it. If it's $500 a coin, I kind of have to balance and draw the line somewhere, because that is pricey, because now you're limiting yourself. Let's just say if I had $1,000, $1, $5, $10, $100, I'll still have a decent amount, not a great amount. If it was $1 and I put in $1,000, that's awesome, right? But if it comes out to $100 a coin, I'm only getting 10, and of course there's fees and blah blah blah. I probably wouldn't even get a full 10. But then if it's $500 a coin, if it was $1,000 a coin, or even $1,500 a coin, I don't think I would be able to afford that. I don't think my thinking would not make sense at that point to put that kind of more money into a coin where I spent the money building the rigs to try to get more coins. It'll be very upsetting that I put all that together, and you guys know that didn't work, but now I have to spend another $1,500 just to buy a single coin. So I do cap it somewhere, and I probably would cap it between 500 and below for it to make sense. And even then, if I was to buy it, let's just say at 500 or even 400 or 300, I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't be a lot, and at that point, it can drop, it can go higher, and it'll be very speculative at that point as well. So that is the number one. What will Chia coins be worth? I don't know. But everyone has a price that they'll be willing to pay for it, or not pay for any of it, and hoping that they can farm and eventually get some on their own. All right. I want to thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick 10 countdown of Chia. All right. See you guys again soon. Bye.